Welcome to another episode of the Drew Aversa Show. I am so excited to have my guest today, Roshan Melwani, Managing Director of Sam's Tailors in Hong Kong, the place where you go to get the best suit and style advice of your lifetime. Roshan, welcome to the show.
Thank you for that resounding introduction.
Well, you know, when I was in Hong Kong, I was told that you have to get a suit at Sam's Tailor. And what I did not know is that I would have such a pleasant experience with you and your family, especially I think the free beer. Are you guys still doing that?
Yeah, can you give me a second? I'm gonna grab something and show it to you, okay?
Yeah, absolutely.
It's interesting that you bring up beer, okay? So basically, my business was set up by my grandfather in 1957, okay? And one of the things that he used to do was he used to give beer to clientele, all right? And in those days, the beers came in these giant San Miguel glass bottles, okay? So every day he'd pour beer into big beer mugs, okay? And every day beers would spill, bottles would break, mugs would break, and the store was a mess. And this continued to the 80s until cans were introduced, okay? So my father then started stocking cans alongside the big beer bottles. My grandfather still liked the big beer bottles, but my dad was sick of having to clean up the mess. So he started serving San Miguel cans. My father then, in the 80s, happened to work with the Danish royal family. And he was at the Mandarin Oriental in the presidential suite taking their orders. And once their orders and fittings were done, the Danish queen invited my father down for a drink in the lobby of the Mandarin Oriental. So she was like, Sam, what would you like to drink? And he's like, oh, I'll have a San Miguel. And she told him off. She's like, how can you order a San Miguel with us? You must only drink Carlsberg. My father was like so ashamed, okay? He was like, oh my goodness, I've just been told off by the Danish queen. So from then on, he started drinking Carlsberg only from a can, and he stocked only Carlsberg in the shop. So San Miguel was obliterated from our history, or so to say, even though that we were serving San Miguel in the 50s, the 60s, the 70s, and a big part of the 80s. In the 1990s, in 1995, my father was given an award by the King of Belgium. The king, that's not the king right now, his son is the king right now. So he changed Carlsberg to Heineken, okay, because it's a Belgian beer and stuff. So then we were serving Heineken only in the 1990s and the 2000s and so forth. So then craft beer came out, okay? And craft beer makers were making really ridiculous and interesting cans. I'm talking about ridiculous, offensive, crazy, nonsensical cans. So I started ordering and stocking craft beer. You know what I mean? I started to add to my legacy, the one that started with my grandfather and subsequently my father took over. And my father found these cans ridiculous. They were also like 10 times the price, okay? But it was an amazing talking point from all my clients to come in and to be served craft beer in the morning and afternoon with crazy cans. After doing that for a couple of years and paying top dollar, I was like, you know what? I want to make my own beer, okay? And that would be amazing. And I ended up with my Sam's Tailor beer. And if you can see that.
I can.
Right? And it's exactly in our corporate colors and stuff. And it's got a measuring tape and scissors. I designed all of this. It's got buttons and stuff. And I got Alan Shearer to launch our beer last November. Do you know who Alan Shearer is?
Who's Alan Shearer? Just for everybody else.
He's the greatest striker in the history of the English Premiership. Alan Shearer's goal record is just, it's unmatchable. No, if you look at Wayne Rooney and anybody who's just played the entire career in English Premiership, like Frank Lampard, Steven Gerrard, nobody got close. You know what I mean? He just broke every scoring record. And he's a great client of mine and a great friend of mine. And I got him to launch the beer. He's a former captain of England as well, one of the best captains of England, former captain of Newcastle. So yeah, it's fun, our beer story, our beer legacy. And I never strive to add to it. Like I said, I've never strived to add to the legacy of my business, to ingrain myself in it, to sow something into it. I've just sort of waffled along, you know what I mean? And tried to be charming and friendly, and a lot of things just fall into my lap, you know what I'm saying?
Roshan, I love it. And now people are probably wondering, they're going, I am so confused. Is Sam's Tailor a beer shop? You know, let's talk about Sam's Tailor because you guys are the icon in the world for who's who. You come in the fitting room, you see President Bush if you're American, you see
Hmm.
royal family, you see athletes, celebrities, you name it. But the thing that I love about you guys is if you are a normal citizen, you treat
Hmm.
everybody like the royal family.
Exactly. I love to meet people in my store every day. You know what I mean? And we like to treat them right. So, over a decade ago, right, I was watching something probably on the BBC, and it was, about the amount of tax you have to pay per employee in the EU. You know what I mean? You pay for their medical, you pay for their insurance, you pay them, you pay tax on them because you're hiring them, et cetera, et cetera. And so, there's a bookstore in France, and there's a small business all across France and Belgium. And you can't even find an employee in the store, you know what I mean? Because the taxation is so high. So I said to myself, you know what? I want to fill my store with employees. Okay. I want to fill my store with employees so that every client can have, okay, if you've got me, you don't need anybody else. But if you don't have me, you can have 2, 3, 4 people looking after you. That is royalty. And, it was much to my father and uncle's chagrin at the time, like everything that I've introduced, right? But it was great, you know what I mean? And it was great. And that's how you feel. And, and that just added to more and more and more people coming. And, no matter how many employees we had, how many consultants we had, it was never enough pre-COVID to look after the foot flow into our shop, you know what I mean? And everyone felt like royalty.
And how did you guys choose Hong Kong as your location for the shop?
Mm. So we are from the state of Sindh in India, the upper northwestern part of India, which is now Pakistan. So this is all historical. I mean, it's all ingrained in history, and there's been so many documentaries about it, and anybody can just Google this. But when the British left in 1947, they took the upper northwestern state of India and gave it to the Muslims. Okay, so you had to, if you were Hindu, or if you weren't a Muslim, if you didn't believe in Islam, in order to stay, you'd have to convert. And if you didn't convert, then you had to leave as a refugee, or you'd be not persecuted but executed. And that's pretty much it.
That's a
You know what I'm
little
saying?
worse than persecuted.
Yeah. So my family went into mainstream India and stuff, and my great grandfather, according to what I'm told, Drew, I'll tell you, you know what I'm saying? In the last decade, I really like to talk about history that I have witnessed as opposed to history that I've been told about, you know what I'm saying? Because what I've realized is that, people could make up a story or something and then it just becomes their truth, okay? But according to my father, right, my grandfather had a gold mine in a mango field. My great-grandfather, excuse me, had a gold mine in a mango field in Sindh, and they lost that all and they were completely displaced. So they moved into Pune and Bombay. It changes each time he tells the story. My grandfather pushed around a cart, a trolley, selling undergarments, like briefs and T-shirts and shit. In 1951, I believe, he got the opportunity to join his brother in Singapore and work for his brother. I can't recall what exactly they were doing. In 52, he came to Hong Kong. This is my grandfather. And he joined a tailor shop. Which tailor shop, I don't know. But after 5 years, he apparently made enough money as an employee, to start Sam's Tailor and to bring over from India my father, my uncle, my aunt, and my grandmother. And hence Sam's was born. And so now we are 63 years strong.
Now, a lot of people are entrepreneurs out there and they're wondering, maybe they're in clothing, they're in fashion, right? How do you go from a story like that, which is truly incredible, to serving VIP clients like you guys do? How do you take your business from, concept to where you are today, which everybody knows Sam's Tailor if you're looking for a suit?
The things I can't really account for what was done before me. And for me, I don't even really know if I'm an entrepreneur. I'm simply a businessman. You know what I'm saying? I've never launched a business. I've just helped to pivot a business constantly over the last 2 decades, even before the term pivot was coined. You know what I'm saying? I have this giant square wheel. You know what I mean? It's a giant cube that I sort of like shift along. It's definitely not a wheel or a circle. Nothing is easy here. Okay. I don't know. I mean, if you're asking me specifically, what was the celebrity trigger? I'll give you a couple. Okay, one is if there's a guy who hands out the Wimbledon Cup. I think he's the Duke of Kent or something. I'm not exactly sure. And every Wimbledon, he hands out the cup to the men's champion, to Federer, to Djokovic, to Nadal. Now, before, social media, I mean, way before, right? We're talking about in the 70s, right? There was no royals back then. There was no young royals. There was no David Beckham, and there was no, the two princes that we have now, Harry and Will, and Meghan Markle, et cetera, et cetera. So this guy was a young bachelor, okay? So he showed up in Hong Kong, and he stumbled across Sam Tailor somehow. I don't know if the British Consul General, the current governor at the time, had recommended it. And so he started shopping here, and then the paparazzi were all over it. First the Hong Kong paparazzi, and then the British paparazzi. And my dad was so scared. And my grandfather was yelling at him, "What have you done?" Like this flurry of photographers outside trying to hound my father. And how did you get this Duke to buy clothes from you? So the story went viral. And in those days, things weren't easy to go viral, right? But it went across every newspaper in the UK. So that's one aspect of how everyone heard about him, through the British royal family and all the British politicians and all the British actors and performing artists. Another story is, I believe, is that, President Bush Sr., he was the ambassador to Beijing, right? After he was head of the CIA. So back in the day, in the 70s or 80s or wherever he was, what was there to do in Beijing? He'd hang out in Hong Kong. He'd hang out with my father at Sam's. You know what I mean? So, and no one knew he'll go on to be vice president, let alone president, right? So that's that whole angle and stuff, right? And when you read in the papers that this British royal has shopped there, and then you end up having David Bowie coming to Sam's Tailor. I'm talking about David Bowie. Do you realize this?
Oh, brother, I know your dressing room. I mean, I was blown away. Literally, the photos of everybody is everybody. You're looking around, you're like, well, there's the governor of California. There's this person.
Yeah. So, I mean, David Bowie shows up, and it's all across the papers, right? In the UK and in Hong Kong and stuff. Who the hell is not going to show up? You know what I'm saying? Right? In those days, we just have newspaper. You know what I mean? We just have newspaper. We don't even have travel guides and stuff. Or maybe we do, right? But, they're basic stuff based on people's experiences over there. You know what I mean? Like to-do lists and whatever. But if you read an article, there's a front page of your paper that David Bowie's gone to a tailor in Hong Kong, that's going to resonate with you, right? And stuff like that. So it's, just brick by brick, chip by chip. President Bush Sr. goes on to become vice president of the United States. He then becomes president of the United States, right? And then you're making suits for a president, and you're already making suits for his sons, Jeb and George Jr., right? Jeb goes on to become governor of Florida. And George Jr. becomes president for 8 years, and you're already making his suits, right? You can continue to buy suits from him. You get what I'm saying? So every time you visit the White House, you're introduced to so many Republican congressmen and senators and stuff. But before that, Air Force One came to Hong Kong in 98. I think it was 98, and President Clinton stayed at the Grand Hyatt. And my father was invited on board Air Force One and into the Grand Hyatt with, the entire Secret Service and his entire staff. They were set up here. It could be 98, it could be 97 pre-handover. I can't recall exactly because I was at NYU.
Roshan, don't worry. The Secret Service will tell you exactly when it was with the next phone call.
So yeah, I mean, my dad is very aggressive, and I'm sort of just a happy wanderer. You get what I'm saying? My dad really goes after things, and I'm very open, and stuff sort of falls into my lap. You know what I mean? People always say that I'm ambitious, and I don't sit around trying to make a business plan. Actually, I don't look forward at all. I don't look at tomorrow. I don't look at this afternoon. You know what I mean? And I have to look at this afternoon because I'm going out tonight per se. I'm not, thankfully. Then I feel yucky. I'm like, God, I gotta go out tonight. I just want to live in the moment. You know what I mean? And whatever happened a second ago, it's already gone. You know what I mean? Everyone asks me what's the best suit I ever worked on. I'm like, the one that I'm working on you right now, because I'm so vested in what I'm doing right now. You know what I mean? So I didn't prep for this. Like, I prepped for nothing. And I didn't think about you, although I was thinking about you. You know what I mean? I was excited to talk to you today, but I tried to put it out of my mind and stuff. And I've got work to do and whatever comes along, comes along. You know what I'm saying? We connected, we talked, out of nowhere, and then we lost contact. We weren't talking for a while, and then I messaged you. I don't know how, or where, or why, and boom, we're here.
It's a beautiful
You
thing.
made that post. You made that Insta post out of the blue, and then we reconnected, right? And
Yeah.
so that's sort of my story. You know what I mean? Like I just always, I just stumble along. I'm the happy wanderer. It's a title of a Sopranos episode.
I love it, Roshan, because I have a lot of listeners that are in the business side of things and different, elected officials, people I know through that. But what you share too is really that historical context of influencer marketing, right? Of
Mm-hmm.
years ago, somebody finds out about something, the paparazzi comes, and then success starts taking off. Right place, right
But
time.
I must interject. I don't pay for this stuff. You get what I'm saying?
No,
Nor do
no,
I
no,
hand out
no,
the
not
goods.
now. But I'm talking about the historical context of,
Yeah.
because so many people go, how did that person get famous? How did this happen? How did that, how are you where you are today, right? In that historical context, I think is so important for people to understand. It's a journey. It's not something that a snap at a finger or, it takes time, consistency, quality,
Mm-hmm.
and all the
Mm-hmm.
things that you guys do.
Mm-hmm.
So,
And no matter who the clientele is, right? It's irrelevant because if the product wasn't brilliant, right? Then it'd be nothing, right? It'd be nothing. There would be no endorsements. There wouldn't be anything. Look, I'll tell you, I work with Sigourney Weaver, okay, an Oscar winner. Okay, we're talking about Aliens, Ghostbusters, Avatar. Okay, I work with two-time Oscar winner Kevin Spacey. Okay, we're talking about American Beauty and The Usual Suspects. I work with the Gladiator himself, Russell Crowe. Okay, these people make 20 million US plus a movie. I'm not handing stuff out to them, and even if I could hand stuff out to them, why would they take it from me? Do you understand what I'm saying? They can buy anything. In fact, they're given everything. Yet they chose to come to me and to purchase suits from me. I mean, how good do you think I feel? I mean, it's just incredible. You know what I mean? And
but the
and
thing I
to
love about you,
retain,
brother, the thing I love about you
yeah.
is because a lot of people are hearing names right now and they're probably going, "Oh, I can't afford a suit," right?
No, it's not. It's reasonable.
But you can, and it's so reasonable. And I don't want to quote prices because I know things can
I'll
change.
quote prices. I mean, the
But
average price is 650 US for a suit. You
absolutely.
know what I'm saying?
And when I got my suits from you, well, I started with one, and then next thing it turned into another one and another beer and another one and another beer and another, But
I
I
don't
am
know if the
so
beers are related.
I don't know, but it was a hot Hong Kong day. Like it was a great experience. But coming back to the U.S. when I went to go get my ties over at Nordstrom and all that stuff, and the woman looked at my suit. She goes, "Oh my God, this is beautiful." I said,
Excellent.
how much would you spend, in the U.S. for a quality suit like this? And she said the number, right? And let me tell you, if you guys are listening, 3, 4 times that
Yeah.
price. So
Yeah.
the quality that you get, and this is a woman who was, fashion designer and all that too. So she knew her stuff. And every time I wear your suits, always compliments, the highest compliments. Everybody loves it. And from the crazy cool designs that you do, but you also,
Mm-hmm.
when I first started in corporate after my career transition, as a firefighter, you guys got me
Mm-hmm.
set
Wow,
up
I didn't
right
know
with
that.
the navies and the gray and the chart, so the basics as well. So
So that's what I do, right? Is I work with people and I help them build their wardrobe. Now, there's many walks of people that will come to me, right? Let's start with someone who doesn't have anything, for example, right? And that's where I, to be honest, have the most fun because I do the least design, but I know in my mind I'm laying the foundations for him moving forward. You know what I mean? So it's really important. If you go to the other spectrum, people have a dozen suits, 2 dozen suits, whatever. That's the most also a lot of fun work because they're looking for something crazy and kooky and to really tap into me and stuff. And I think that I enjoyed that the most early on in my career, and now I just really help. I just really love helping people to bring their vision to life. You know what I mean? And that's pretty much it. I get a lot of comments and stuff like people who don't know me in North America, right? Who just watch me on social media and stuff, they feel as though that I'm creating a product specifically for a person, or I'm mass producing, or I'm dictating. And I'm completely not that. I never dictate. I elicit answers from people. Okay, I ask them a lot of questions. Could be 2 or 3 if they're already very worldly and wary, or it could be maybe up to a dozen, right? And then I've mapped out in my mind the path that I want to help them, guide them along. and pretty much it. But I try to make every decision, every style attribute, every choice theirs and not mine. You know what I mean? I speak to them as candidly as possible, and I give them as much as they want, but I will shoot them down and try to stop them if I think they're making a mistake. But ultimately, if they don't take my advice, no problem. I still create what they want. So I have a video to give you an example that went viral on TikTok, and it's about to hit 1 million views. Okay, and I put it up a couple of weeks ago, and the suit is so good. All right, it's so good. It's one of the best suits I've ever made. It's a double-breasted suit in an iconically old fabric, and it's very Kingsman, and the fitting is amazing. It's off the hook. The guy chose this clown lining, if I can find it for you. Got a whole book of linings here. It's absolutely ridiculous lining that just did not go with the suit. Mira, I need the clown lining.
I strongly encourage when you go to Sam's and you work with Roshan, make sure you do some meditation too, because you are overwhelmed literally on the fabric choices, the lining choices. I mean, you have like choice after choice after choice after choice.
We're trying to find this clown lining to show you. Can I get the polka dots, the large ones? So the client insists on choosing this clown lining, okay? And I get, like, I don't know, tens of thousands of comments on TikTok on that video saying the suit is so damn good. I mean, it's one of the best suits I've ever made in my 21-year career. But we can't stand that lining. You know what I mean? I'm dressing it up nicely. I mean, the vitriol that people spewed about this lining because it pulls out of the pocket square and stuff. And what people don't understand is that it's the client's choice. As much as they dislike it, right? This guy loved it. And as much as I knew that it wouldn't work, right? I couldn't talk him out of it. You know what I mean? So I don't think it destroys the suit at all, because the suit is immaculate and he looks brilliant in it and he's super happy. And that's the work that I do. That's the work that I do. And that's pretty much it. I bring their vision to life. You know what I mean? I give it a life of its own. The stuff that I make is just off the hook.
It really is. Hey, brother, question. So 2021, everybody's looking forward to vaccines. That's the latest buzz. So how about the fashion industry? What's going on in 2021? How do you become a man of style in the COVID era? What are the trends? What's going on? What do guys need to know?
You take a giant step backwards, okay? Whenever you have a dilemma like this, okay? I think basically there's a seismic change and a big reset. So you go back to basics, okay? And the brilliant part about where I come in, okay, and where I've been super successful is that I am amazing at making basics, your blue, black, and gray, with the most phenomenal of touches. You get what I'm saying? So that when you walk into an interview, you walk into a meeting, your first vision is basic, okay? And then you make that impression, and then you start your spiel and stuff, right? But then those in the know, okay, as they're looking at you, as they're watching you, they start to pick up on all these little attributes on the basic that are not crazy, but are just nice, fine touches. And I think they start to feel good about you because they start to feel good about themselves. They start to feel good about themselves because they've noticed something interesting. And because they've noticed something interesting and they've been perked, they start to feel good about you. So I think it's a big step backwards in terms of colors and styling. But the attributes are going to play a huge role because people don't want to shed what they're already used to. Okay. And so, you know, when it comes to slanted pockets, when it comes to mother of pearl buttons, when it comes to overlapping buttons on the cuff, when it comes to a center vent rather than a side vent, when it comes to a narrow peak lapel rather than a semi-notch lapel and stuff, people are going to be super happy that they get to dress their basics up.
From the legend over there at Sam's Tailor. And then,
all right. That.
No, you are. I mean, seriously, it was one of my highlights of Hong Kong, seriously. And then, so when you're in Hong Kong, obviously you can go, you can get fitted, you can retweak, you know, things if you need your pants a little bit here or there, your jacket. So how does it work now? You're doing a ton of virtual fittings.
Okay.
Obviously, like, I mean, the world's changed. So how does it go now? And people are still stoked to have a suit from you virtually. So what's going on? What's the process like?
So Drew, you know, pre-COVID, I was making up to 40 suits a day. Okay. Post-COVID, it's a trickle. You know what I mean? And with each wave, then I go a week without any clients. You know what I mean? So first wave, we're now a fourth wave. You know what I mean? Suddenly the city goes nuts and nobody comes out to buy anything. And then the trickle starts again. So it's very tough. Now, I think what people don't realize is that Skype, I believe, was invented in 2003. Okay. FaceTime in 2011 and WhatsApp video in 2016. So I have been doing video with people abroad since 2004. Okay. And that's pretty much it. It's just that my store was always full. So I never went live, and we really didn't have this advent of live, TikTok live and Instagram live and stuff. Now I have more time on my hands. That doesn't mean I'm not busy. I'm even more busy than ever. Before I could just be the ringmaster and manage my show and flow. Now I just have to draw. I've never worked so hard in my entire career, and I work so hard always. You know, I work 6.5 days a week for 21 years. Yeah, I get up at 5 a.m. and I keep going and going. So the reason I'm putting all these videos out there, right, is because I need to be transparent, which I've always believed. I believe in transparency my entire career. You know what I mean? Honesty, transparency, basic stuff. You know what I mean? You learn about business ethics very early in your education. You know what I mean? This kind of stuff is very important, and it's taken very seriously. So I've suddenly got this time to do all these lives because there's not 40 guys in my shop at any given moment, right? So I put myself out there to show people that it can be done. And this is not a new thing. I've been doing it for a long time, and it can be done. Now, people are always very apprehensive about measurements and, mailing and whatever. I tell everyone there's nothing to be apprehensive about. I've been doing this for over a decade, and look what I'm doing with everybody every day. It's fine. I'm not trying to sell. I've never been a salesman, okay? I just help people. You know what I mean? You want to make clothes and you've chosen to come to me. Yeah, I'm here to help you and stuff. I never push. The consultants I hire in my business, they get a great base salary and nothing else. They get a base salary that they couldn't get anywhere based on the level of education, and I train them myself, and I get them to buy into basically my ethos, and my ethos is ever evolving. Okay, it has to. You can't be set in stone. And I tell them, don't push. You take care of my clients. Be givers, be givers, be givers. And, that all stems from me. And I give and give and give. If the suit doesn't fit, what are you worried about? You know what I mean? I'm not going to run away with your money, and I'm not going to fight with you, in this era. I'm going to immediately type an email between you and DHL and say, Patrick, who's my CRM at DHL, please arrange to pick up this package from Fernando. Finished. Okay. Bring it back, alter it, or remake it and send it to you. You know what I mean? My name, my legacy, my heritage, my future mean far more to me than any one sale and spoiling people's impression or view of me. Let's dial back a little bit. For the best part of a decade, I'd always tell my team at team meetings the same thing over and over again. This is all pre-COVID. If someone comes to Hong Kong for 2 days, they will visit Sam's Tailor 3 times. If someone comes to Hong Kong for 4 days or 3 days, they will visit Sam's Tailor 4 times. Someone comes to Hong Kong for 4 days, they will visit Sam's Tailor 5 times. Why? Because as soon as you get that bite, that whiff of the process, you want to come back every day and try your stuff. You know what I'm saying? And make little tweaks here and there and buy more stuff and everything. So I tell my team, I told them for over a decade, you know what I mean, since the dawn of TripAdvisor, okay? And I think TripAdvisor is the devil, okay? We could talk about that. It could be a whole other podcast and stuff. I'm just going to put it out there. I think TripAdvisor is the nastiest vehicle there's ever been, right? But it was a game changer for how you do business. But we could talk about that another time. We'll talk about it later. But I remind my team that no matter how good a time our clients had at the Peak or in Stanley or at the ICC or at Felix at the Peninsula or at Aqua or on the Aqua Luna or hiking the Dragon's Back or seeing the Big Buddha, no matter how good a time they had, if you screw up their suit, they're going to hate us and they're going to hate Hong Kong because they spent the most time with us. They didn't expect it, but that's what happened. We didn't force it, but everyone wants to. And if we screw up their suit, we destroy the experience of Hong Kong.
I spent more time with you, and that's true. The big Buddha, the hours for the big Buddha are difficult. So I got all the way to Lantau and I said, oh, shit, I can't even see the big Buddha for that long.
We can make a suit in that
I was
time.
with you for longer.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So it's just this ever evolving ethos that we live by, that we want to be givers, and that's pretty much it. And we want you to invest in us. We need you to invest in us. In order for this to work, you have to invest in us. We're not showing up at your door and saying, here's a product, do you like it, does it work for you, okay, bye. No, you're coming to us. A couple of weeks ago, I wake up on a Sunday morning at 5 a.m. and this kid on Instagram, his name is Fernando, okay? And he's a student. He's a kid. He's 19 or 20 or whatever. He goes, bro, I've seen all your videos. I love you. I want to make a coat. I said, okay, it's 6:50 US. 6 a.m. He's sent me the money to my bank account. 7 a.m. he sent me his measurements. By 8 a.m., okay, he's picked the fabric. But the fact is that he sent me his cash straight away based on the videos that he was watching on Insta and TikTok. And at 10 a.m. I got to work and I go live with him. And I said to myself, bro, you've got to watch the intro of this video. I said, bro, you are amazing. I feel so blessed. You trust me so much. I mean, you just sent me 650 US. It's not like you're 43 years old, right? You're 19 or 20 in college and stuff. And it was just amazing. And, I get that feeling every day. And when I sit down with my team every morning, right, and we're working on people's orders, I tell them, I was like, this guy or this woman has sent us cash, you know what I mean? Halfway across the world. You get what I'm saying? We haven't done shit yet for him. All I've done is dialogue with the person, but they have sent us cash. We have a responsibility to that, you know what I mean? A responsibility to humanity. This goes beyond business, you know what I mean? It's one of your personality, it's one of your humanity, it's one of your religious beliefs, it's one of your honor, you know what I'm saying? Someone has sent you cash. Who does that in this era? You know what I mean? I won't work any other way, right? I need to be paid first, and then you get all of me, okay? And I don't need to sell either. All of me is out there. Yeah, you understand what I'm saying? You just Google me, you watch my videos, everything. Pricing is there, product is there, experience is there. There's nothing that's not there, right? You know exactly what you're going to get from me. You know what I'm saying? And that's pretty much it. So I think the fact that people pay us up front for our service is it's not a motivator. It's something that we've been used to, but it's an honor and a privilege, and we need to live by that and stand by that and not disappoint. So if something doesn't fit, you don't have anything to worry about. You know what I mean? We want it to fit. We want you to love our stuff. It's important to us.
I love it, brother. And I'm 6'3". I'm a big guy. And let me tell you, from pants to these things and that, you guys make everybody look like $1 million. It's a wonderful experience, and I hope to be over there in Asia and see you in the new year, healthy, happy, and get a new suit. Thank you, Roshan. Enjoy the conversation. And how can people get in touch with you, and how can they get a suit from Sam's Tailor?
Well, if you like email, right, you can email me, web@samstailor.com. That's my email. You can get in touch with me through Insta, which is @SamsTailor. You can get in touch with me through basically any form of social media there. I'm Roshan Melwani, and I'm Sam Tailor. I'm the easiest guy to find in the world, because I'm just live and posting all day, every day. You'll know exactly what I am, where I am, and what I do all day, every day. Send me an email, web@samstailor.com. Send me a message through Insta. You can WhatsApp me. My number's on the website. I'm the easiest guy to get in touch with, and I love talking to people. And I love helping people.
Thank you, Roshan.
God bless you, Drew.
You too, brother.
Talk to you soon.
All
okay.
right.